Very good evening to you all. How are you all? Good. I see a lot of our students here as well. How many of you are new to R.C.Reddy IAS Study Circle? Okay. Welcome to the institute. So before we begin this session, you all know it is a session related to prelims, right? High impact revision. This is the 4th year we are going to be doing this session, and more than 500 plus students have been able to clear prelims in the past 4 years who have taken this program. So why am I mentioning this to you is I would like to give you a brief about this is not the first time we are doing this course, but it is probably the first time you are listening about something like this. This is probably the first time you are hearing about a program, a revision program or something, but albeit the program has been there for 4 years now, and the institute, with its history of R.C.Reddy Sir's experience of 45 plus years and the institute's history of 35 plus years, we as an institute have seen that over the years we have seen how the exam has changed, and prelims has become one of those tests that many students, very bright students, were also not able to clear. So that came the point where we decided to not just give test series. Institute has been conducting prelims test series, which is a free test series that many students have written over the years. Okay, but would tests alone suffice? Would tests alone be enough for you to clear the exam? No, because the prelims exam, because of the number of students, how many people write prelims each year? Do you know? Come on, you're all writing prelims. You should know how many are giving prelims. 10 lakhs, more than 10 lakhs, right? So more than 10 lakhs writing the exam, and when students come down, 12 lakhs, yes, Vivek. So how many would come down to write mains? It's very important that UPSC innovates in a way that maximum students are eliminated so that the number of mains students evaluated would be less, right? Is that the goal of UPSC? When you look at the paper, right? So when they are trying to make prelims tougher as the years go by, your strategy to prepare and the kind of courses you take to clear prelims have to be according to how the exam is changing. How many of you would be writing 2026 prelims for the first time? Okay. Why I'm asking this is, many of you might not understand the complexity of the exam because you haven't given the exam before. That is where experience matters. Why I am telling you this is, you're probably in your 20s and these are very important years in your life, and you probably have taken courses, maybe you're doing self-study and all that. What is the difference between a competitive exam and something that you give at a university level? The biggest difference is understanding how to clear this exam, how to get the marks you need to get the rank that you need when only 900 to 1200 to 1100 posts are there, right? That is where the difference comes. So it is very important for you to understand what is the exam demanding. Am I preparing according to what the exam is asking? Right. So that is where high impact revision we have brought in the program, keeping in mind how the UPSC prelims is changing. And if you see the design of the program, it is not just revision classes. Revision classes are an important component of it, because we see students writing daily tests, daily prelims tests. Do you learn anything from it? If you write a test daily, you should learn from it. You should learn what mistakes you have made. You, first of all, writing a test daily would not really give you the time to understand where you're making mistakes. First of all, if you are reading the right content, okay, if you don't understand previous year questions importance, if you don't understand what kind of pattern questions would come, right? So many students think knowledge alone, I will read lot of books, I will read so many books and make my notes, I'll make 1000-page notes, I will follow a course which has more notes. They think more notes is better. No. If at all you want to clear this exam, please understand, apart from hard work, you need smart work, you need experienced guidance of people who have cleared this exam, who have gone up to interview stage, who have cleared prelims multiple times. So it is important that you understand what are the techniques. It's not just knowledge. With knowledge alone, how many questions can you answer? How many questions can you answer with just knowing the content of the paper? You have static part, right? But there are some questions where you definitely, to get the cutoff that you need to clear prelims, you need to understand the elimination techniques. You need to understand how to prepare notes that will help you remember what you are learning, because it's not like a direct question in prelims, right? You need to be able to understand the confusing part of it and be able to answer it in the exam. So your notes has to be very pre-IQ specific, right? And keeping in mind that revision, our program is a multi-pronged approach program. Why I'm saying multi-pronged is, Rakesh, sound వినపడట్లేదంట చూడు కనిపిస్తుంది. So our program is a multi-pronged approach program. When I say multi-pronged, online. When I say multi-pronged, I mean not just revision classes. We have notes that we give you. We also conduct tests during the revision program itself with elimination techniques that you can use, that you have learnt in the class. You will be, suppose you learn an elimination technique related to polity, okay? You will be given certain questions that are related to those questions, related to that elimination technique in the PYQs, so that you understand how to apply it. You only become better at it when you actually apply it, right? You can learn all kinds of things, but unless you practice it and you learn from your mistakes, you will not be able to do better, right? So keeping that in mind, our program has revision tests. We also have post-test analysis that we ask you. It's a compulsory thing that you have to do. You have to analyze what mistakes you have made, and it's quite a rigorous program. Why I'm telling you this is, why should we start in December, ma'am? Actually, last year we started in November itself, but this year there is EPFO exam, right? Many of you might have written the exam also. So with keeping that in mind, we have moved the date to December. The first batch of high impact revision we have started now. But over the years, why I'm explaining all this, this is not the first year I'm doing, but you're all new. Some of you are probably writing this exam for the first time. That's why I'm telling you. So the success itself speaks, because like I mentioned, the institute has 1000+ ranks of civil services over the 35 years of institute's history. And we have really seen students who are definitely capable of clearing this exam, but prelims has become a stumbling block for them. That is why high impact revision program has come into place to help you clear this exam, not falling for many students. They are studying everything, they are not able to understand why they can't write this exam. Why am I not able to clear prelims is a big question for them. So please don't fall into that category. Learn from experience, learn how to revise, how to answer the questions with elimination techniques, and how to keep yourself calm during the exam as well, because UPSC is testing your emotional capacity of how you can control your emotions as well. Because when you are giving the exam, it becomes it's a do or die situation. You are an excellent student, probably in your college and everything, but you're not able to clear prelims. What will I tell my family? All these questions keep coming to your mind. So it's important that you also know how to manage your emotions during the exam, right? So all these things we take care to help you understand how to clear prelims. And the program success has many rankers. We're not playing that right now because we have put it out on our YouTube channel. You can look it out. Many students, like I mentioned, who have mains caliber, who are great, they would be definitely great civil servants, but prelims was a stumbling block for them. So this program has helped them become rankers. So we want you to know that we have designed this program keeping the necessity of what the exam demands and what the students have in need. It's your responsibility to put in your effort. Like R.C.Reddy sir always says, if you want to clear civil services exam, 70% is students' effort, 30% is coaching. So it is very important that you put in your effort with us while doing this program. So we have left no stone unturned in terms of giving you quality program. The faculty who teach you, Mr. Goutham Sir has gone up to civils interview multiple times and forest service interview also. Prelims, he has been able to clear consistently 10 times, I think. And Sandeep sir, Sandeep has gone up to UPSC interview stage, I mean forest interview stage. Forest service, if you don't know, if you are new, forest service cutoffs are much higher than civil services cutoffs for prelims. Okay, so forest service cutoff is much higher. So somebody who has cleared forest service, you know that prelims, they have understood what the strategy is. Sandeep sir would be taking your CSAT, and Mayanka ma'am, she's not here, but she is the project manager for your tests. She has gone up to forest service interview as well. Why I'm telling you about all this is, we as an institute take a lot of care in who teaches you, who prepares the questions, who prepares the keys and all these things. Why? Because to clear prelims, there is a strategy to it. Okay, if you learn those techniques, you will be able to understand how to clear it. If you don't, and you just think I will keep on making notes, then it's your mistake. You know, we want you to understand what it takes to clear prelims. That is why we have created this program, and what we want you to start ahead. Don't be under the notion I'll start prelims in March, April time frame and I will clear it. It's not possible. And many people think every day if I wake up in the morning and give a test, somehow magically I'll do well in prelims. Please don't be under that mindset. Okay, prelims paper, the way it is set, if you see, you know, it is very different from many mock tests you will write. I'm telling you that because you understand, many students think I'll just do sectionals. In Hyderabad, students don't write grand tests. That's why we have started our grand tests ahead. We have conducted 2 grand tests already, so that you can feel what it is to write an exam with all the subjects in it. If you are only writing sectionals and you expect to do well in prelims finally, that would be a mistake. Please do full-length tests. Okay, and we have given you the schedule. Please take a look at the schedule. The schedule also has been carefully planned, keeping in mind, when I say high impact revision is a rigorous program, I mean it. Those of you who have some understanding of the basics will be able to understand revision. Okay, so please ensure that you take the, we have kept in mind, the first batch is morning batch. Morning is very fresh in your mind. You can come down and learn all the techniques that you need to and be ready to put in that hard work. Okay, and the first batch students usually have a lot of time to learn from their mistakes. Okay, understand the techniques, you apply the techniques, you learn from your mistakes and you get better at it. Give full length tests, only then you will understand what it is to actually take a prelims paper completely, right? So don't fall into the trap of thinking I'll enroll in a program where I'll keep writing daily tests and magically it will improve me. No, you need to understand that why high impact revision is a multi-pronged approach program that we have created. We are giving you revision classes, we are giving you the notes, we are giving you tests, post-test analysis, even current affairs parts will be taken care of. Okay, all these things we are doing so that no stone is left unturned for you all. Okay, so without further ado, I'll have Goutham Sir speak about GS part of the course in this orientation, and then Sandeep Sir will speak about the CSAT part. Before CSAT, again, CSAT, many students think, I can do it, it's very, I'll just give 1 month time, I'll finish it. Please don't be in that mindset. Please take CSAT seriously, because unless you clear your CSAT, your GS paper will not be even evaluated. So please keep that in mind. So right from the beginning, do small chunks of CSAT, prepare for it. That's how we've planned the CSAT schedule also. Okay. So if any one of you has questions or any concerns, please feel free to ask. We will be glad to help you. For online students, we will be posting this schedule in the chat window. Any questions? No? Okay, then I'll have our faculty start the session for you, and all the best. Okay.
Good evening, class. Right. So, welcome to HIR orientation 2026. Right. And this is a very, very nostalgic program for a reason, that we have actually made many students realize their dream. When I say the statement of many students realizing their dream, prelims has become a very, very strong or very, very tough hurdle to crack for many students to write mains. And you know, if you don't write mains, you don't get interview call. And when you don't get interview call, you don't get a rank. Right? So whole of the sequence of realizing a dream has been stopped by prelims. And as ma'am was talking about it, this is not the first time that we are doing. Right? So we are not the first attempt candidates when it comes to dealing with the program. But we have definitely made many first attempt candidates clear the examination in their first attempt itself, especially when it comes to prelims examination. Right? I can tell you confidently with all the conscious, and we have it speaking. Now, when we talk about this, initially the session or the GS part that I would do, first cluster I would do the general analysis of the exam, and then the second cluster I would talk about HIR. Right? Why HIR? What is HIR? For whom is it? And some dimensions of eliminations I would show you, and I would put a context to that. Now, the first initial aspect that I wanted to actually put a simple question to many of us is, all of us say that prelims is a very, very tough part. Right? But when you look at last 5 years cutoff analysis from 2019 till 2024, right? You look at 2019, approximately cutoff has been 98, and you see the graph, and it has been constantly declining, and somewhere in 2023 we see it going up to 78, and 24 we had the cutoff again coming back to 87. Now, one understanding that you have to see here is, this is the line which is showing 100. Now, what is the takeaway here? You see that all the cutoff is less than 100 for last 5 years, and I am damn sure this has been repeated even in 2025. Now, when the cutoff is less than 50% of the marks, why are we calling this exam tough? Yes, that's a question to all of us, because generally if something is less than 50%, we don't say that is tough. But when we look at prelims examination, we are telling, even when it went up to 78, we are telling that is the toughest paper. But when we look at the composition of 78 out of 200, it is how much percentage? Approximately 39%. Now, the biggest challenge for most of us here, why are we calling it as tough? Because of sheer numbers, right? Some days back, I was also talking about this number. Again, I would like to reiterate this number. When I'm talking about this number, to be very specific, the percentage of people going to next stage is approximately 1.92%. When I say this 1.92%, and if I round it up to 2% also, it is 2 out of 100 people who are writing the exam are actually clearing prelims. And that is how and that is why we see this exam is becoming tough. First reason. The second reason why people consider it to be tough, one, I'm saying numbers. The second reason why people consider it to be tough, with an apprehension that most of the people think it is a game of knowledge, right? But again, I'll show you something here. Now, I was just doing some small difficulty analysis when it comes to last, again, 4-5 years I've done it, right? This is from 2020 till 2025. Now, when you look at hard questions, right? When I say hard, my classification of considering hard questions were those questions which were random. My consideration of considering hard questions were those questions which are out of my ambit. When I say out of my ambit, I would have read my basic books, but still I am unable to answer those questions. That is where I say those are my hard questions. And hard questions are those which I don't even understand from where are they picking up. This was my consideration when I was considering which is hard, which is easy, which is medium. Now, when you look at this cluster of hard questions, you see the green is demarcating those, and if I have to tell you, in 2025, we had 32 hard questions, 35 medium questions, and 33 easy questions. Now, when I say this data of 33 easy questions, what was your consideration, sir? Easy means easy for every one of us, right? And please don't be in an apprehension that I have considered them to be easy with my experience of clearing 10 plus prelims. No. I am saying them easy on the basis when they are repeated from PYQs. That was my consideration. I am saying them to be easy when they are from my basic sources. Because for all of us, some basic sources are very common. Although some subjects we might have the variation, but the basic sources are very common. And I am saying them easy when I see a question to be direct. For example, in 25 we had one question on Arigata, right? Now again that question is very nostalgic to me because when I was giving a first attempt in 2016, I had the same question. So I felt nature was telling me, in first attempt also you had this question and probably your last attempt also you have this question, so enjoy. So what you have to understand here is, now most of us were thinking that Arigata is some question which has been randomly picked up from some source, but I can definitely tell you it was a question in 2016. And most of the people have considered that question to be tough, but I would say that is easy because that is repetition. Now look at this number. Why am I telling you these numbers? Now on an average, if I look at last 5 years average, I can definitely tell you 32 to 33 questions are in this ambit. And most of these 32 to 33 questions are in this ambit because they are mostly repeated from PYQs. Which technically means how much? 33 into 2 is how much? 66. What is my cutoff average? I'm telling you again, I've been less than 90. How much more do I have to struggle for? 24. But still we say it is tough. Still we say exam is tough. Now that means you please understand that. Examination is being considered tough for various reasons. When I say those, one reason that I was talking to all of you was with respect to numbers. Two, when you actually overemphasize on knowledge, that means somewhere there is a problem of strategy. Because what happens is, most of you, I would say that's unfortunate actually. Most of you say that is a good course which gives you more books. Most of you say that is a good course which gives you PDFs and PDFs. And most of you say that that is a good course which gives you daily handouts. Now when they are giving you daily handouts, you're not understanding one fundamental logic there. Again, 30 pages per day for 60 days, how much it is turning out to be? 1800 pages. You're looking at this 30 pages per day, but I'm looking at that 30 pages for 60 days. What is it summing up to? 1800. Again, what are you running behind? You're running behind excessive knowledge. That means you have an issue with respect to strategy. Now, when I talk about strategy, most of you will say, yes, I will read polity. Fantastic, no doubt. Most of you will say, I will read economy. Too good. Most of you will say, I will read history. Most of you will say, I'll read geography. Most of you will say, I'll do environment. All fantastic, my dear. But what is the proportion that you are going to allocate to each of these subject is again questionable. When I say this questionable nature, again a small analysis that have been done. This is with respect to number of questions for last 5 years from each subject. Now, one small observation that I would want you to make here is, you look at, always there is an evergreen subject which is polity. Why am I saying it is evergreen? Because always I have 10 plus questions from polity. Ab maan lo isko dekho. There are no areas where I have less than 12 questions. 12 is the least, that in 2022, but you see 25, 14, 24, 19, 23, 15, evergreen. So what is it indicating? It is indicating that I will have to be strong with respect to polity. Pehla. The second indication that it is making here, surprisingly again, you see the cluster of economy. Most of us don't even imagine that this is so important for us. But you look at the cluster of economy, in fact, if I take the average, economy is going to dominate polity. Because the highest number of questions I see is 21 and the least that I see is 13. And in 25 going up to 18. Now that means on an average, if I take the least of this 13 in economy, 12 in polity, which is making my 1/4 of the question paper first. The second revelation that I would want you to have here is, there is one subject, although which has a lot of weightage, especially when you look at environment and ecology. You know the reason. The fundamental reason is you have civil services and Indian Forest Service having the same prelims. So they are forced to give more number of questions from environment, and when you look at this proportion, approximately again it is 15. But the problem with environment has been, it has become very random. For example, this year there was a question on peacock tarantula, gutti tarantula, right? It took some time for us to understand that's a spider species, right? And some of us could not even comprehend what do you actually mean by an arboreal species. Unless and until you are from anthropology, probably, because you talk about arboreal adaptations and terrestrial adaptations in 1.5, 1.6 of paper 1. You could not have comprehended that. If you wanted to comprehend also, you were supposed to see the Hindi translation. If you look at Hindi translation, then you would get an understanding that it is an arboreal means which is living on trees. Now, where will you run behind such sources? So what is my understanding here is, environment has to be dealt a little strategically. And I would also say environment is that subject which is technique oriented to a larger extent. What am I saying? Polity, economy is more concept oriented. It is more knowledge oriented, and this is the one which makes paper little doable first. Second, environment is random, it is technique oriented. More than technique oriented, I would say you need to have a smart strategy to do with environment. Now again, you look at geography, Indian geography, physical geography, world geography. If I look at some of them again, 5 plus 8, 13, 14, again, approximately you see, surprisingly the numbers are about 10, right? But the problem is, most of us will face certain issue whenever we look at geography. Why? Because when you look at geography again, geography has a very, very static source. I don't know how many of you have actually known this. And geography only has two kinds of questions. One is conceptual geography, the other one is factual geography. And I can also still boil it down to you, factual geography is only from drainage system. Factual geography is only from mineral resources. Factual geography is only from world climates. You can go and cross check. जाके देख लेना. I can bet upon this demarcation that when you look at factual geography, it is only from these three areas. And what is more conceptual is, you see, a physical geography which becomes conceptual here. Right? So that means, again, geography is going to be important, and geography is going to be that one which I can comprehend with my concept, with my knowledge. So that means, what is the understanding here? Understanding is three subjects strong. क्या है वो? Polity, economy, geography. Three. Sir, how will I deal with the other subjects? Now, other subjects, something like I would cluster SNT into one cluster, environment into one cluster. This is dealing with technique oriented. I am telling you, you might be an environmentalist, you might be a scientist, but still you cannot solve the questions of UPSC. Why? Because they're very random. Now, suddenly they would ask you in which of the following substances they're using plastic. Right? I am a master's in polymer technology with a gold medal. Right? Still, I cannot answer that question. I will have to rely upon my technique. Are you understanding the dynamic here? Now, plastic polymer means I have all the specialization there, but still I don't know that particular question, and I answered that question in 25 using my technique again. I would say some are concept oriented, some are knowledge oriented, but some are technique oriented. Some will demand what? Smart. But there is one subject which is history, and there is another area which is current affairs. Now, again, if you are a smart fellow, what you would see, modern history is having greater proportion comparatively. But you never know when this proportion is going to change. So what I would tell you is, in the context of history, doing basics would actually keep your strategy right. And when it comes to current affairs, although I will discuss about this dimension a little later, but just wait for some time on current affairs, history, my analysis would be doing basics and answering only those which you know. Simple. Now, because if it goes too much on Buddhism and Jainism, I can still manage with my source and with my notes of HIR. But if it is going overboard, I cannot. So that means history is basics, knowledge, concept, technique. Simple classification of the subjects. You do this. What was the remaining mark that we were supposed to get in prelims examination? Because 66 I am getting anyway by doing PYQs. What was the remaining? 24. But still we say this exam is tough. Where do you think is the issue? Strategy, focus, techniques. And more importantly, I can bet that at least 60% of the crowd sitting in the classroom and listening to me online, I can definitely tell you most of you don't believe in techniques. Why? Because there are people who are vocally coming out and saying eliminations are eliminated. But my statement is, if you don't use elimination techniques, then you are automatically eliminated from the process. And I bear a tag of clearing more than 10 prelims of UPSC, including Forest Service, and this is my eligibility to make this statement from the exam hall. Because they have been telling this particular statement from 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, when the paper became dynamic. They say eliminations are eliminated, but I have cleared some of the toughest papers, be it 2021, be it 2023, and be it 2025. And my eligibility is within the exam hall. I am happy using eliminations, and I have cleared the cutoffs of Forest Service, which fundamentally means at least 15 to 18 marks more than civil services cutoff. So you will have to believe techniques at the end of the day if you have to get an edge. More importantly, if you have to be peaceful in the exam hall. And that has been working. That has been working. There is no iota of doubt. I'll also talk upon that particular dimension towards little end. Right? Right? This is some general analysis. Anyway, you can go through this. This is one factor, randomness factor. Right? Now, when I look at randomness factor again, this is one thing which is actually making again prelims paper tough, or again making us feel tough. Why randomness? I'll give you a simple example from 2025. Suddenly, if you go and see, there was one question on UPI, right? They did not ask you the basic operational dynamics of UPI, but rather they immediately asked which of the following countries used UPI as their official transaction for digital transaction or something like that, right? Now, what happens, my dear? That's a random question. Did you ever imagine that in UPSC prelims there would be some question like this? No. Now, again, there was one question where you see there was a random question on BIMSTEC. There was again a random question on BRICS. Because most of us, what happens is we randomly keep on reading current affairs and UPSC randomly asks and we randomly mark and we are randomly out of the race. So when I say this randomness factor is what it is making it tough. And I'm telling you, this is not a factor that you will have to worry. Why do you, or why are you not supposed to worry? I can tell you 30 to 35 questions are definitely random every year. And what happens is, these are the questions which make us discuss about prelims paper for 1 year. That you see, after you come out of the exam hall, what happens? Did you come across this issue of key mistakes? Yes, institutes also cannot finalize upon certain keys. Have you seen that there is almost a variation of 10 questions? What do you mean by that? Random. That means even if you do chat GPT and even if you do whatever proficiency with respect to artificial intelligence, you're still not finalizing upon the answer there. Now, how do you expect you to finalize the answer within the exam hall? So you should not worry about these random questions which are 30 to 35 because one, anyway, I am going to leave some questions. Are they asking you to attempt all 100 questions? Is anybody expecting 200 out of 200? 180? Right? Okay. We'll settle down for 150. వద్దురా బాబు 100 వస్తే చాలు అన్నట్టుంది అవునా నవ్ ఇఫ్ ఇట్ ఈస్ 100 వాట్ షుడ్ బి మై క్వశ్చన్స్ 50 క్వశ్చన్స్ చక్కగా చేసుకుంటే అయిపోద్ది దట్ ఈస్ ఫండమెంటల్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ దట్ వీ హ్యావ్ అండ్ వెన్ వీ లుక్ అట్ హియర్ ఐఎమ్ ఎనీవే గోయింగ్ టు లీవ్ సమ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ అండ్ ఐ నో మై techniques will solve some questions. And if you have attended my elimination session also, in that also I would have given you one guarantee. What is that guarantee? If you are solving 10 questions using techniques, I can definitely give you guarantee of 7 questions right. 7 questions right. 3 questions, okay, let them go. Right? If you are fortunate enough and if your planetary position is very good that day also, these 3 also can come along. So randomness factor is not one thing which you have to worry about, but rather the previous subject analysis that I told you. That should be your focus. The PYQ aspect should be your focus when you talk about this. Role of PYQs, I already emphasized at the starting itself. Every year, 30 to 35 is the range. 30 to 35. Again, if you have practiced well from 2011 till 2025. I am not telling 1988, right? Sir, is that your date of birth? No, I don't want to reveal. That's a different issue. Right? I am not even talking about 1988, 1990, 1993. I am not even bothering. My focus is if you are able to do decently from 2011 till 2025, I think the ambit of 30 to 35 questions can be solved. But again, what you have to understand, there is a way of doing. What happens, most of you will take some publications, start reading, start by-hearting, and what will you do? When you enter into the exam hall, what happens? You don't even recollect that you have done some question like this. Because the problem is what? The right analysis of that question is not done. Okay. Now what is happening? When I have to summarize all those dimensions that I discussed, one, don't worry about random factor. If you are worried also, we have techniques, 1. 2, focus on right knowledge, not some random PDFs, random compilations. And when I say random, I am being very specific here. And don't be overwhelmed by these books that somebody is telling me that I am going to give you 1800, 2000 pages of notes, come enjoy, all the questions will come from 2000 pages. అరే 2000 పేజీలు చదివిన తర్వాత క్వశ్చన్లు రాకపోతే కష్టమైంది. And you please understand, reading 2000 papers is fine, but when will you revise those papers? How will you recollect those papers? How will you remember those papers? That's a big issue. So what am I telling you? I'm telling you here, it is all about what? Right knowledge, right focus. When I say focus, I've given you the analysis on the subjects. Right focus, and very importantly, right strategy. Remember this, and prelims is easy. Right? No, adle up to sir, I'm telling you, prelims is easy. Again, on record, I'm reiterating prelims is easy. You want me to tell 100 times also, I will tell prelims is easy. But what is one thing that is going to make a difference is you will have to believe certain process. Because you have to understand there is a first attempt candidate who is clearing and there is a fifth attempt candidate who is not clearing. What is the difference? Do you think it's a knowledge? It's a knowledge? No. Do you think it's approach? Yes. Do you think it's a strategy? Yes. Do you think it's a belief? Yes. Because you have a fifth attempt candidate failing prelims for last 5 times, but the first attempt candidate at the age of 21 clearing prelims. And I have n number of examples from high impact revision. I can tell you, I can confidently tell you. Now, what is the difference here? That example itself gives you a difference that it is not knowledge which is making you or breaking the prelims examination when it comes to the exam hall. You will have to believe certain things. You will have to rectify certain things. And you will have to definitely focus on certain things. Unless and until you do certain things like this, it's not going to happen. Because I already told you, you have very limited seats. That is 2 out of 100. Who are these 2? Are they intelligent candidates? Who are these 2? Those who have believed certain things. Those who have believed certain procedures. And who is telling you those procedures? A person who has been consistently clearing for last 10 times. Now, do you need more validation? I am not sitting outside exam hall and writing. I am telling you my experience. I am telling you the way to clear by sitting inside the exam hall. And I am not doing post-mortem analysis by coming out, yes, this is elimination, this is elimination. I am happily doing elimination where? Inside exam hall. I am enjoying. Trust me, it's an enjoyable process. Why most of you will think prelims and UPSC is like mother-in-law. I keep telling this line. But trust me, my dear, UPSC and prelims, it is like the mother which keeps caring. It keeps giving you clues. I'll show you number of such examples. What is one difference? Believe. That's more important. How current affairs? Right? What do we do? Because I have also passed that stage. Please understand. What do we do? First we decide how many months we should pick. Right? Somebody will tell you 12 months. But in 2025, UPSC broke this record. And what did UPSC do? UPSC gave current affairs for last 3 years. What will we do now? We'll pick 3 years. Shall we? Right? No sir, not 3 years. We'll take some average. 10, 12 to 15 months. Fantastic. For each month, minimum 150. Ante number taggipote, confidence taggipote. So what is happening here? 150 pages each month. 12 months, how much it is? 1800, am I good at it? ठीक है, CSAT तो हो रहा है. Right? 1800. 1800 pages of current affairs. 1800 pages of GS. 3600. You will attain liberation. Very close. I'm not joking. And at the end of the day, what do you say, my dear? You come out and say that I have read all this. UPSC didn't even ask any question. That's a common comment that I keep hearing. I have read all of this, sir, but not even single question came, sir. UPSC. Unpredictable Public Service Commission, sir. There is a problem in the way you are reading current affairs. I can see some of my previous HIR students, right? I'll talk about that also. You ask them, what is the size of my current affairs material? Material in the sense, I take 30 hours of current affairs sessions. On an average, total for last 15 months, that current affairs notes is 100 pages. Every year I have 8 to 13 questions coming from that particular 100 pages. You can verify. నా మనుషులు కాదు వాళ్ళు, నేను వాళ్ళని డబ్బులు ఇచ్చి కూడా పెట్టలేదు అక్కడ, రైట్? లైక్ దట్ ఆడియో ఫంక్షన్స్ ఆర్ సంథింగ్, నో, రైట్? You can ask them. You can ask them. 100 pages notes max. I'll dictate. That is what I do. I don't give any PDF for that. I dictate 30 hours, 100 pages, and the range of questions is 8 to 13. 8 to 13. Now, sir, how is it varying? Please understand, current affairs are not direct current affairs. What are they asking? They are asking extrapolation. Extrapolation to what? Static. You understand this funda and formula of current affairs is easy. Because what are they doing? They are keeping one current affair and they are dragging it and asking. Now, when you look at Tarantula, most of you were wondering, sir, why Tarantula was in news. Tarantula was demarcated in IUCN status to critically endangered species. That's current affairs. Yes. What do we do? Tarantula, critically endangered, very good. It is blue color. It is a spider. It has that. Everything we study. But what did UPSC play upon? UPSC happily played upon, is it arboreal species or terrestrial species? But if you were able to understand it's a spider, we could use the logic that it is definitely a arboreal species. वो तो चलेगा ना, वो तो that is extrapolation, just like the squirrel question in 2023. Now will we start studying about squirrel? No, the only thing that I know about squirrel is udta udta uch, nothing else. 23 when I was writing, the only thing that I remembered when I was writing that squirrel question was this udta udta uch when I was studying when I was kid. What do you know more? It gave 3 statements. What one fundamental statement it was telling was that if you observe squirrel's movement, you are able to understand whether it is moving from ground to tree or tree to ground. That was the observation that you were supposed to make in that particular question. Now, will you sit and read about all the species? No, just I keep telling one very famous example of 2020, that where UPSC came up with around 18 to 20 questions over on agriculture. And people started revising agriculture, people started doing masters in agriculture, research in agriculture, and one question from agriculture in 2021. And UPSC says, I'm playing prank on you. And you come out and say that UPSC is unpredictable, sir. I prepared all agriculture, sir. Who told you, sir? So what you have to understand is there is a pattern, there is a way, there is a strategy, and there is an approach. When you talk about current affairs, it is not direct, it is extrapolated current affairs. Now from here, I will have to talk about one of the very, very strong programs for clearing prelims examination of civil services. When I say strong, the strength of the program lies in its results that we have been talking about for last 4 years. We have over 500 people who have qualified prelims from HR. And the strength of the program lies in the design of the program. Ma'am was highlighting certain components of that. And strength of the program lies in the team of the program. When I say team of the program, GS will be handled by me, who has cleared 10 prelims including forest service. CSAT will be handled by Sandeep sir, who has cleared 9 prelims including forest service. And you have tests being prepared by somebody who has cleared forest service multiple times. In the sense, forest service cut off multiple times. So what does that mean? The strength of the team, the strength of the results, the strength of the course by itself, I can say it's one of the strongest programs for prelims examination. And when I talk about these components, the first aspect of this is we have revision classes. And when I say revision classes, it is not random revision, no. It is not revision of all the GS, no. Revision with respect to what is important for that year, right? When I say what is important for that year, I am being very specific. You will have to understand almost 30% of the subject will not be revised. And that you can definitely take it for granted for a reason that we have that experience and we have been fundamentally doing that. Why? Because what is the use if I just imagine I'm going to revise whole of your Lakshmikant, right? You are satisfied, fantastic, but my objective is not your satisfaction, but rather your conversion and clearing of prelims examination. And when I say this dynamic of conversion and clearing of prelims examination, I would say that year specific important dimensions will be revised, which would cover around 70 to 80% of your syllabus. One, extremely strategic again. Two, you see, the timing of your classes is from 6 to 8:30 p.m. AM. Again, the specific reason this has been the trend that we have been following, that we wanted to impinge upon the student with respect to the fresh hours of study. And trust me, my dear, after 10 days of every day coming at 6 o'clock and sitting in the class, you feel like an achiever. Okay, because confidence you would have. The third dimension of this, you have both GS as well as CSAT, which is covered. Fourth dimension of this is we would cover your techniques. I will have to speak about this here. When I say techniques, which fundamentally means techniques are very important. Techniques are compulsory. Techniques are mandatory. And you can only clear prelims if you have techniques. On record, a very strong statement that I am making with all the experience and the confidence that you can only clear prelims if you have techniques. Techniques here fundamentally means common sense. Techniques here fundamentally means on the basis of the pattern of previous year questions. And what are we doing for this year HIR when it comes to techniques? You please understand, for every subject there are certain bunch of techniques which are present. And these techniques are not universal across all the subjects. What am I going to do in GS is, I am going to teach one technique on the basis of PYQs, and you would have approximately 15 to 25 questions take home test where you are practicing the same technique. That fundamentally means what? It is not passive learning, but rather it is active learning. Every day I would teach one technique of that subject, and you would have the respective practice of 15 to 25 questions on the same technique. Right? Now, what is going to happen with all of this is you're going to reinforce the way you're going to apply the technique. Because when I was talking to certain students, they were telling me, sir, you told all the techniques, but when I went to apply them, I could not. When I went to apply them, my hand was shivering. When I went to apply them, I could not apply them because I don't know where to apply them. Now, taking that particular feedback from the students, we have come up with this particular dimension. Again, that where for each technique we have 15 to 25 questions given on a alternate day basis for that particular subject for you to practice that. Because when you practice that, if you have some doubts, we would again come back in the next day's session and we would rectify, right? That is with respect to techniques. You also have tests which are conducted. If you are able to see the schedule, you see on an average 2 tests for every subject, right? And you would also have one grand test which is conducted for whole of your syllabus, right? So that would again be present. Now again, the tests are very specific here. Tests are specific with respect to the important themes for prelims examination. Now when I say important themes for prelims, I'm again being very specific. You tell me the subject, I can tell you 10 important themes where every year we have a question. If I have to tell you, for suppose say in geography every year we have question on world climates. In geography every year we have question on drainage system. In geography every year we have question on conceptual climatology. In geography and convergence of SNT we have one question on planetary system. When I say that, it could be with respect to standard model of physics, or it could be with respect to the planetary system, it could be with respect to star system. So what is happening is you have to be very clear, there are some bunch of such topics which are important for every year. and every subject. Now, when I say history, again, I am reiterating, there is no question paper without Vijayanagara. There is no question paper without Buddhism and Jainism. There is no question paper without, from the moderate phase, there is one question definitely coming. So what do you observe? Again, I have some bunch of themes which are important. When I say polity, definitely fundamental rights, DPSP, one question. Definitely from president and governor, one question. Definitely from 5th and 6th schedule, there is one question. Parliamentary accountability systems have one question coming. So what do you mean? Now, rather than sitting and reading randomly, your testing process is going to happen on these themes specifically. And that is very, very important, because I already told you there are certain subjects where we'll have to have a strong hold on the knowledge. There are certain subjects where we'll have to practice techniques, and there are certain subjects where you'll have to be strong on basics. Now, when I say basics, this year there was one question on Mahendra Verma 1, right? Chitrakala Puli, Vichitra Chitta, and many people marked that question incorrect. Now, what is that one question has actually boggled me a lot when I was sitting and conversing with multiple students, because on an average, my student base for prelims examination is roughly around 5 to 8,000. That is my base. Now, when I look at the dimension, what do you observe? When you are unable to mark that question in the exam hall, which fundamentally means there is some problem with your basics. What people do, they leave basics and they start building the above layers, which is a problem. Now, people were, again, with respect to that particular question, my dear, I think there was that question on civil disobedience, CDM, right? A simple question on Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Now, that Lahore wala question, that was tough, right? Something was shifted, that Lahore wala question, that is tough. That is a tough question. But Mahendra Verma 1 question, Raja Ram Mohan Roy question, CDM question, that Gandhiji question, all these are what matter? These are straight. These are simple. And if you're marking them wrong, it fundamentally means there is a problem with your basics, right? So tests would be covered in that. Then in the month of April, you would have your current affairs, where I was talking about 30 hours of current affairs, which is going to cover 15 months. And don't worry, I told you the maximum size will be around 100 pages of notes will be there for that, which is more than sufficient to happily attempt the examination, right? And this year, one more addition that we have made into the clusters of the HIR, again, if you see, we brought in IR. Now, when I say IR, I will not sit and teach relations. No, right? I will not sit and teach India, Pakistan, India, Sri Lanka, India, Bhutan. I am not going to teach you that PSIR, IR or GS2 IR. No. My focus when I am teaching IR, what are the techniques which are relevant to IR without knowing anything, how to solve an IR question is my ambition. And that is doable. That is very much doable, right? There are certain keywords to be noticed in a particular statement to be observed, even if you do not know any factual ways, because most of you are boggled with the organizations, the international organizations, international summits, locations. There is a way of solving these questions, and my focus is to capacitate you. I think we have allocated around 3 sessions for this, to capacitate you to solve certain questions even without knowing anything. Right? Sir, is this possible? It is possible. Because my assumption here is what? That you cannot know everything on this earth. Yes? And don't you think there are certain questions in civil services prelims which demands that extensive knowledge? Yes. Yes. Now, what is one classic example which is demanding extensive knowledge? Science and technology. Yes. Now, when you start actually sitting and reading, most of them will be picked up from research articles. Now, do you sit and compile research articles? In the process, you will get Nobel Prize. I'm not joking. But still, I can't give you a guarantee of solving prelims questions. So, what is more SNT? SNT is more of techniques. Environment is more of techniques, right? Now, a simple comparison that I have brought in. Why should somebody join HIR, right? Sir, you are talking too much about HIR. You please understand, How much ever I speak about HIR, it is less. Why? Because the strength of the program. Right? Again, strength of the program. Please understand the intent of HIR and the objective of HIR was very clear. It was not to create some random prelims program in the market. No, that is not the ethic of the organization also. The HIR intention was very clear, just to leave and just to break the hurdle of prelims examination such that you can realize your ambition. And please understand, I know some of you will be facing a lot of pain because you would have failed prelims more than twice, thrice, 4 times. And I told you, in 2025 prelims examination, I had a candidate who had failed prelims 8 times. He was already working in one particular central government department from some other exam. He was an OBC candidate. Before 2025 HIR, he came to me and he failed prelims 8 times. Right? I cannot disclose the name, so I'm not disclosing, but I'm damn confident about this information. And then he was giving his 9th attempt in 2025. Right? 2025 was the last prelims that he is going to give because he was OBC. OBC, 9 attempts. In 2025, he qualified prelims for the first time. In his last attempt, he qualified prelims for the first time. This is one story. The other story is, first attempt candidate again qualified prelims in the first attempt. I can tell you n number of such stories when it comes to first, last, fifth, sixth. If I tell you the case of 2024 HIR, right, 2024 attempt, we had a candidate who had consequently failed around 7 prelims. And candidate was writing 7th prelims in 24, and for the first time that individual qualified prelims in 24. Right, if you want the information, come personally, meet me. I'll show you. And these are not some stories which are made. These are some stories which are impactful. And please I can still remember the scene when the prelims result was out, this 25. He comes up. I was just coming out of the staff room. If you remember, the result came somewhere in the evening. You remember 25 result? Yes. I was coming out of the staff room. He comes and he leans down completely. Now that's a very emotional moment for somebody who has been teaching for some faculty. Now I am not bothered about leaning, but I am more bothered about what? Him clearing his first prelims in the last attempt. Asala feel dude. Goosebumps moment there. Yes, exactly, I'm telling. Right? Now again, the strength of the program lies in all of these stories, and we keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, and we are dynamic. And I keep telling one line, HIR can never get old because prelims is always dynamic. As the prelims is getting dynamic, we also get dynamic when it comes to HIR. And why should you join HIR? A clear comparison, not some random 1000 pages. Fit. I'll show you the snippet form. Now I'm just showing you some sample of last year's HIR notes. What do I do before I start any subject? Is I start the subject with trends. If you look at the first page, you see these are the important areas for hotspots in geography, right? That is how I start every subject. That first I talk about what are the hotspots in that subject. Then once I talk about those, every subject has bunch of generalizations. Now when I say bunch of generalizations, what does that mean? That means that even if I don't know anything in a particular question of that subject, I can still solve it. I am showing you sample of geography. I am showing you sample of, this is polity. Right, polity will be a first session. Okay, so they would have certain general aspects, and this is the hotspot for polity, right? Those are mentioned. Now, one assumption was prisons, jails, right? Judiciary, judicial, custody. Those dimensions were important. So last year we again focused. Again, what happens? I come up with generalizations. Every subject has bunch of generalizations. I told you, no, that without even knowing anything, you can still solve a question. This. And please understand, this is not artificial intelligence. This is the intelligence of solving prelims. And this is there for every subject. Every subject. And what is the nature of the notes? You see, all these are generalizations with respect to polity. And this is how your notes is going to appear. That means I am not going to have some 100 lines or 1000 lines in my page. It's going to be extremely condensed. Now, when I say condense, again, no printouts. It's going to be dictation. It's going to be explanation. It's going to be opening up of the conceptual knots which are existing. Because when you look at the first three words in this particular line, most of you are not very clear what is the difference between constitutionalism, constitutional morality, and constitution as such. Anyave. Sir, what is common, sir? Sir, all of them have constitution, sir. This is going to be the approach when you talk about the notes. You pick up any random page, you will never find some big lines. It is all going to be what? Snippets. It is all going to be the snippet form of notes. Again, no PDFs, no artificial intelligence. It is all hardcore learning to somehow solve a question in my exam. That is the ultimate objective. I am not here to make you Gyani. No. I am here to make you clear prelims at any cost, come what may. Come what may. I keep always telling that you give me any sort of paper, but it should be set by UPSC. I can anyhow clear it. So always remember, this is going to be the snippet notes, and I think this is how much? Right, around 89 pages. Right, 89 pages, which includes polity, which includes some aspects of international relations, which includes some aspects of organizations. Now, what is your Lakshmikant size? 700? 800? Right? 880 pages. Magic. And the beauty of HIR notes is, you write APPSC, you write TGPSC, you write SSC, you write RRB. Somebody was writing this IB. Yes. And I received a message saying that, sir, many questions were from HIR. HIR is universal notes. I'm telling you. Right? Any exams aina notes matram okate adi HIR notes. Right? Now, so I'm talking about the snippet part. Then techniques, I told you 30 plus. And if you want, and if you have any doubts on my techniques, you can go verify the elimination technique session that we have done. It's available on the Institute's YouTube channel. Again, current affairs, not bulky, I told you, right? I could not get the sample of current affairs notes. Otherwise, I would have showed you last year's current affairs notes, right? Then 500 plus. And who are teaching you? Again, I keep telling, I am not subject expert, rather I am exam expert. Because all that I need is what? Not thesis, all that I need is what? Not PhD, but all that I need is what? Expertise in clearing prelims examination is what is my eligibility. And I have cleared my first attempt in 2016 prelims examination. I have cleared my last attempt, which is 2025 with respect to prelims examination in forest service. Right? So which technically means I'm more updated. You take the easy papers 2016, 2017, 2019, 2020 I've cleared. You take the tough papers 2021, 2023, 2025 I've cleared. So which technically means that's more expertise in the context of exam. Right? And as a ritual, I keep showing some magic. That which is fundamentally talking about eliminations. Because just to make you remember that eliminations can never be eliminated. But if you feel that eliminations are going to be eliminated, get ready to be eliminated from the process. Again, on record, a very strong statement, because I somewhere believe, if I have to make you believe, I will have to show you certain things. ठीक है, कुछ देख लेंगे. Show you some questions. ठीक है, that I was talking about, no? How many of the above contain plastic? The 2025 paper mostly, so that you can still feel the authenticity of it. How many of these contain plastic? Now what do we start doing? We start making plastic in the exam hall. Yes, right? Cigarette butts, that means that end part of it. Yes, eyeglass lens. Now most of you will eliminate this. Will tell, sir, eyeglass has glass. How dare you say plastic? Right? And car tires. Car tires, you say, sir, car tire is rubber. How is it plastic? Yes or no? Now this is for people like you who use knowledge. But for a person like me, what is a simple generalization that anything can contain? Plastic. You look from top to toe. Everything has plastic today. You see, shirt, it'll have some plastic. Mic, plastic. Pen, plastic. Board, plastic. Answer, plastic. All of the above. No sir, we want logic. ठीक है, बता देंगे. Cigarette butts. What is there? It is some soft substance which is majorly made up of polystyrene. This is my knowledge from polymer technology and a gold medalist. Right? Polystyrene. What is the lens? It is PMMA, plastic. Again, what is for tires? We have certain reinforcement in the context of tires, so we have plastic fibers which are present, mostly which are made up of HDPEs. HDPE is a plastic, PMMA is a plastic, polystyrene is a plastic. Right? But can you think like this in the exam hall? नहीं होगा. ठीक है. और दो तीन I'll show and then I'll invite CSAT sir to talk to you. Right? ठीक है. This is my favorite logic. Can logic. Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of how many of them? Now many people were writing chemical equations. Right? I'm sorry, I'm not so knowledgeable. But my eyes are always on can. My eyes are always on can. I can do anything. Yes? Yes or no? That is the potential of what material? That is the potential of technology. May not be today. Don't you think 15 years down the line I could do something with the same technology? हो सकता है. What is it talking about? The potential application. Again, all of the above. Now again, please understand, these are what? Application oriented, and you can't randomly sit and start reading upon them. ठीक है, इसको बोलते हैं थोड़ा. Look at this. Now there was one question. I still remember this was question number 6 in my question paper. ठीक है. What is the common characteristic feature of the chemical substances generally known as Cl20, HMX, LLM105, which are sometimes talked about in media? We only know some things talked about in media, not everything. Right? अब इसमें देख लो. These are the alternatives to hydrofluorocarbon refrigerants. These are explosives and military weapons. These are high energy fuels for cruise missiles. These are fuels for rocket propulsion. अब इसमें एक लॉजिक तो पक्का है. Be it missile, be it rocket, don't you think the nature of fuel is the same? Yes. Now how can because it is just telling what it is? Fuel. And how does it matter whether it is fuel of rocket or how does it matter it is fuel of missile? It's the same. So definitely not C and D. And what I'm left with? These are the alternatives to hydrofluorocarbons refrigerants, and these are explosives and military weapons. My instinct says there is so much going on with military. Yes, my instinct says this. But if I have to reconfirm, I know RDX. There is one word here, what? HMX. Right? We generally see such representations being present for what? Explosives. Why? Are you understanding the logic here? Now, this is not some question which I beheaded and came. This is that which I solved in the exam hall. So, I am telling you the same logic. So, which fundamentally means it's not last two, it is explosive. Why? I am extrapolating my current affairs, I am extrapolating my etymological knowledge. What is my etymological knowledge? I know RDX is what? Explosive. ठीक है. Last question. कुछ कर रहे हैं, ठीक है. कैन तो देख लिया ना आप लोग, राइट? You'll not understand consistency now. I'll see. Pick up some question. Now, have you come across this question in 25? Right? Some people were thinking this was CSAT question. There were two numericals, both from economy, again that region of revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, basic conceptual dimension. But the problem was what? We started doing integration and differentiation there. But rather these were just what? Some additions and some subtractions, don't you think? Now people say, sir, this is random, sir. But I will tell you, go back and refer 2020 question paper, you will see the same or similar question on money multipliers. He says 1 lakh has been withdrawn from the savings. What is the M naught? What will be the M naught? Something similar. There is no change in M naught. Where? Why? Because you see that M naught is all about what? Some savings and or money in circulation. That's what you see. So what is happening? He is withdrawn there and he is using it in circulation. So there is no change in M naught. Similar questions were there and UPSC has already spoken about such a trend when it comes to these aspects. Okay. Right? Look at this question last. IBRD. IBRD is about World Bank. It provides loans and guarantees to middle income countries. Okay. Right? It works single-handedly. అంటే ఒక చేత్తోనా ఎట్లా? Is World Bank single-handed organization or World Bank is composed of five? A World Bank annede ఐదు ఉంటే how will this single, that to look at the ambition, single-handedly to help developing countries to reduce poverty. ఇది ఇంతమంది ప్రయత్నిస్తుంటేనే అవ్వట్లేదు, single-handedly. Obviously, my dear. What is it talking about it? It is always promoting collaborative effort, not individual. It was established to help. I don't know about all of that. Look at the options. Look at the options. Remove 2. That is why I say UPSC is not mother-in-law. Rather, UPSC is a sweet mother which tells you, take. Now you see this. You have n number of questions like this. You eliminate one, you are arriving at the answer, and every year we have at least 10 to 12 questions of this type. Is this clear? Right? We have many such techniques where I'll teach you logical consistency, I'll teach you extreme words, I'll teach you wordplay, etymology, can. Right? I'll teach you how to talk about those 3 statements. Wala. Around 30 plus techniques are there. One latest technique that if you see my elimination, I showed you, there was a technique called n-2. Right? In same 2025 paper, you were able to solve 5 questions. Out of those 5 questions, you were getting 4 questions right, 1 question wrong. Okay? That I showed in the elimination technique. That you can see. Right? So, you please understand, HIR is a process. And we also have certain touch point sessions that we keep every year. And if you're joining in this particular batch, you please understand we are going to stay in touch till May 24th. And once you qualify, also we'll definitely stay in touch for mains. right? Hope to see all of you. So that is it from my side with respect to GS. Now I request Sandeep sir to come and talk to you on CSAT.
Yeah, actually, that was a pretty good lecture, actually. Amazing lecture. Okay, just to begin, I'll start what Gautam sir said about techniques, right? He was talking about techniques, right? So I'll just tell one story. I'll not name the person. I have a friend who cleared 2021 prelims and he went to interview stage. Okay. Before that, he appeared almost thrice or twice, I am not sure. In prelims, he failed. In 2021, he cleared for the first time. He went to interview stage. He missed the cutoff by around 10 marks. General candidate, general category candidate. Then in 2022, he appeared in prelims and he could not clear prelims because after interview he had less time to prepare for civils prelims. Okay. So then I called him after 2022, before 2023. Means so because these techniques what Gautam sir was talking, so I knew some of those techniques and one of my friend also knew those techniques. So I called this friend and told him that there are few techniques which you will get when you analyze previous year questions. Okay, so you need to take actual previous year questions PDF which are available on UPSC website and the answer key of UPSC, not any coaching institute. Okay, because there will be variation of 10 questions. So I almost we talked for 2-3 hours and I explained him how you get to those techniques. So he followed, he practiced actually. Only those 2 hours of class was not enough. He practiced rigorously. Then he cleared 2023 prelims. He got to mains, he got interview, around 180 rank he scored, okay, finally, general candidate. So after that, he appeared again in 2025 as well. So since then, he always, whenever I call him, he lifts my call immediately and he always is grateful to me. He says that because of you, because of those techniques, I am confident of prelims and he got that rank. So that is the important of what Gautam sir is going to do for this course. Okay. So, okay. Yeah. Myself, Sandeep Reddy. So I have cleared almost 9 prelims of UPSC and Forest Service. Okay. I have graduated from BITS Pilani, if you have heard that college, okay, from mechanical engineering. So let's move ahead. If you have any questions, you can raise your hands, okay? Any questions? Feel free. Okay. So I guess you people are aware of CSAT paper, right? There will be 80 questions. Unlike GS1 in the morning session, right? 2.5 marks each. So you know this negative marking, it is a qualifying paper. So on 24th May we have prelims, right? This year. So what happens is there will be exam in the morning. So what Gautam sir taught you, those techniques, you will see 100 new questions. So you will spend some time in those 2 hours and sir will ensure that you get good score in GS1. Okay. So you are confident of getting good score. Then comes the afternoon session. Okay. You need to score 33%. After your GS1, you feel that you're scoring 100 plus marks or not 100 plus, but you might be confident, right? So when you're confident of GS1, the next hurdle is GS2. This is CSAT. You have to navigate through it. So my task is, I will ensure that you people sail it through smoothly. Okay. So now I'll tell why it is important, right? Why CSAT is important. Okay. Now, especially, usually people ignore CSAT. Okay, everyone generally, that is the case because the GS syllabus itself is very vast, very vast. So during last 10 days of prelims, you have a lot of things to revise: polity, fundamental rights, DPSP, modern history, science and tech, environment, species, lot of international organizations, lot. So then, when you are little worried about CSAT, even if you are, even if you have a small doubt in your mind that I lack something in CSAT, then that impacts your confidence a lot actually. It because I have been there, or my friends, I have seen my friends, whoever is not confident in CSAT, they cannot focus on GS completely. Now, what you feel that there is a lot of syllabus pending, okay, so you focus on GS, but what happens is you know that you are not good at CSAT, so this CSAT thing will trouble you a lot, okay. So because of this CSAT, you cannot focus clearly on GS, so that impacts your GS preparation. So about this thing I'll tell. Next is the pain, okay. When you get 100 plus marks in GS, 2023 prelims, if you see, as Gautam Sir has shown, the cutoff was around 78 for general category. Okay, I know a friend, after this paper, next day lot of keys were out, coaching institutes. So he checked some random key, he was scoring 110 plus in GS. So you never need to look back. Okay, when you are scoring 110 plus with one key, you will definitely sail through. So he checked the CSAT score, it was 70. Okay, so he thought he will clear, but this 70 included maths, passages. You people are aware that there will be passages, right? So these passages, something special about UPSC is at least 5 to 6 questions. 5 to 6 questions, they are different. The answers given by UPSC is different from the answers of any coaching institute, okay, or more than that, okay. He eventually did not clear prelims, okay. So this candidate appeared in interview before this, okay. Before this year he appeared in interview 2022 or 2022. In 23 he did not clear prelims because of CSAT. He appeared in interview in 2022 and he did not clear 2023 prelims because CSAT. He was very good in GS. He was very good in mains. Okay, he just missed interview cutoff by around 5-10 marks. Okay, then again this year 2025 he is giving interview. Okay, so the thing is, when you get 100 plus marks after prelims, it will be very traumatic. Actually, you see a lot of people getting 85 marks, 90 marks, they clear prelims, but you are scoring 110 plus, which is the toughest paper, okay, for GS. 110 plus, hardly 500 people get about that. In entire nation, only 500 people get 110 plus, 1000. You are getting those marks, but you did not clear prelims. So that is why CSAT is important. And one thing is, UPSC has the CSAT paper in the afternoon, okay. Exam is in May. May is summer, okay. And morning 11:30 they will leave you. You have time till 2:30. So these 3 hours your brain is already, it's in a confusion mode. A lot of people discuss keys. They say, okay, about river system, Indus River, or whatever the questions. You always your brain is already tired by discussing those questions. So 2:30 to 4:30, when you sit there, it's almost like super heat. Okay, the temperature is very high, so you're already tired. So in that moment, you need to handle the pressure and just sail through. Okay, you should not think too much. So it's just self confidence. Okay, you need self confidence. If you don't clear CSAT once, you lose that self confidence in next year. So CSAT, it's simple but tricky. Okay, it's not very difficult or very tough, but you have to focus. You have to invest that time. You have to invest those number of hours. Okay. Yeah, this is simple. Why generally people miss CSAT is, yeah, you neglect the paper. So because when you neglect, you delay that. When you are in March, you think that okay, CSAT I'll do it in last month or April. When it is in April, you will think that I'll do it in last 15 days. When you are in last 15 days time, you feel that I only have 15 days time. Why should I invest in CSAT? I will do it in last 3 hours on the exam day. On the exam day, last 3 hours you can't do anything because UPSC doesn't believe in formulas. Okay, it will test your knowledge. It will test your basic core. Okay, you look at any subject, take GS prelims, GS CSAT, interview, or essay paper, or any mains paper for that matter. It will always test your basics, fundamentals, common sense, calmness. So that you will get through practice. Okay, and also when you look at previous year question papers. Okay, this I guess I've already talked. Huh. Actually, Gautam sir has spent enough time on why HIR, why HIR. Actually, so I will not repeat those points. But one thing I'll talk, like few things, is this will be more of PYQ based. Okay. So why PYQs? Can anyone tell why do you need to PYQs? Like, yeah, exactly, pattern, very good. Uh, yeah, anyone can. PYQs, because you look at any topper video on YouTube, any topper, any coaching institute, they always Telegram channels, right? You follow Telegram channels of toppers anywhere. They say PYQs everywhere. GS, civils, prelims, any mains paper or interview. Even for that interview, you look at previous year questions of toppers. So why previous PYQs? Because exactly pattern, you can get that pattern. Now UPSC has given us syllabus. It said history, he said polity, but what in polity? It did not give you any textbook, Lakshmikant or NCRT. That is not the textbook for UPSC, right? Those are textbooks to clear any what do you say, university exams. So when you look at PYQs, you will know this is what UPSC is asking. In history, you can study anything. In polity, you can study anything. But when you look at PYQs of last 15-20 years, you will know that this is what UPSC is asking. So that is why PYQs are important. That is syllabus plus PYQs combined, you will get all the questions from this syllabus plus PYQs on the patterns. Okay. So another thing is, if you look at okay. Look at this syllabus. Okay, this is once again syllabus. This has been taken from UPSC's notification. Okay, they said class 10 level. Okay, maths. If you look at 2023 paper, it was not class 10. Okay, even people from IIT could not clear it CSAT because it was a surprise, and court cases were also there for 2023 level. So syllabus is class 10 level, but when you look at PYQs, there are higher questions. So this is what you get when you mix syllabus plus PYQs. Okay, so that is why PYQs are very important. So this course will more deal with PYQs. Goutham sir or me will talk more about PYQs. So then, yeah, you will get more output by that. Already talked about it, and you will be taught techniques. Okay, so those techniques, only solely based on techniques you cannot clear exam. Of course, you need basics, you need foundation, but techniques will help you to take a good jump. 10 to 15 marks minimum in paper 1 GS, or more than that, this 10 marks, because after giving your GS prelims paper, you will feel that just one question which is worth 2.67 marks. So maybe for my friend who failed prelims once, he always talked about 2 questions almost for 1 month or more than that. He said those 2 questions were nightmares, because had he marked those 2 questions correct, he would have written prelims. And that is important for your confidence. Okay, so it's only matter of 1-2 questions. So these techniques will boost more than 10 to 15 marks. Okay, even yeah, this is more in GS, but in CSAT as well, you have some techniques in reading comprehension or some formulas. Okay, so again about HIR, because see, you will get proper guidance because sir has cleared 10 times prelims, so I have cleared almost 9 times. So you'll be given like proper guidance on how you approach the paper. Okay, that is strategy of attempting the paper. It is very important. Despite having knowledge in GS1 paper, that is GS1 or CSAT, both you need the strategy of attempting. Like there will be in GS1 how many rounds you will write, or CSAT how do you select questions. Okay, how do you maximize your output, because you don't need to score 150 in CSAT, you just need 67 marks or 66. Okay, so this is what is needed, right? Why do you want to put extra efforts to get 150 or 200 marks? If you are clearing CSAT, that is enough. If you want to put effort, put in GS1 or put for mains. Do not waste too much time in CSAT. Okay, so you need what? Then we'll do one thing: diversity of preparation for CSAT. Generally, for CSAT, you think maths is more important, or reading comprehension, as per you? Anyone? Maths or both, right? Exactly. So in 2023, yeah, that was the toughest CSAT paper because cutoff is 78 for general studies. Because not for general studies, because CSAT was so tough, the cutoff fell to 78. Okay. So in that, maths was very tough. So those who relied on reading comprehension, they have survived. Okay, reading comprehension. That is why diversity is important. You cannot focus only on reading comprehension or only on maths. So both. Reading comprehension one question, or shall we do maths question one? Anyone? Yes? Oh, okay. Okay. Any of these questions you can do. Okay, let's do one thing. This one. Question number 40. This was in 2025. 9, exactly right. So you just need to know that, because if someone has not seen this question, how to solve it, okay? In exam, it would be difficult to do it, okay? So when you know the pattern, you can solve this in maybe 30 seconds or less, okay? So you have 80 questions, right? You have 2 hours. So in that way, if you see, you have almost 2 minutes or less, okay, 2 minutes to solve the question, because you don't need to solve 80 questions, okay? So when you are solving this in 30 seconds, you have time of almost one minute or so to invest on other questions, okay? So now let me tell the trick. Yeah, 11 square is 121. 111 square is 12321. 1111 square is 1234321. So that way it will keep on repeating. In this question, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. So it has to be 1 1 1 1 1 1 so on up to 9, right? So that way we'll use some tricks, okay? In CSAT maths, it's not only tricks, okay? You have to have some fundamentals. You know, if I say some tricks on divisibility or etc., for that you need basics of number systems, okay? So that way we'll cover basics and we'll use tricks, okay, which will ensure that we get at least 90 marks in CSAT, okay? So 90 marks is more than enough, because 66 is the cutoff, okay? At least 90 will ensure that, because we'll use reading comprehension and maths, okay? So shall we do one reading comprehension question? Simple passage I'll use, because we'll see how reading comprehension we use the tricks said by Goutham Sir, okay? In GS you use those tricks, right? So even in reading comprehension, we can use those tricks. It's a simple passage, very simple. Option C, right? C, UPP. Okay. C, okay. Anyone, any different answer? Just spend some time. I know it's more than 2 hours, but it will help. On 24th May. Everyone is saying answer C, right? Shall we once read the passage? Okay. So one of the biggest ironies around the water is that it comes from rivers and other wetlands. So it's simple that you always read environment, newspaper articles, right? So it's just a simple article from environment syllabus. It's talking about water. And actually UPSC loves water as a topic. In GS prelims or mains or you always get a question on water, okay? So it just said simple statement. It comes from rivers and wetlands, yet it is divorced from them. While water is used as a resource, public policy does not always grasp that it is part of the natural system. So efforts at engineering water systems are augmenting water supply rather than strengthening the capacities. So it is simply saying that water is coming from rivers and wetlands, but we are seeing it as a different case. We should see as a holistic thing, right? It's a simple thing. There is no English in it. It is simply that whenever you plan for water, whenever you have a policy for water, it has to be holistic, right? Instead of just talking about engineering water systems, you should talk about ecosystems as well. So this is completely GS1 syllabus and also environmental syllabus of GS mains. Okay, simply that is just common sense. Common sense paragraph. Now let us see most logical and rational inference, whatever. Water, rivers and other wetlands should be protected under Ramsar Convention. This statement is correct if there is no paragraph, okay. In this paragraph, did he talk about Ramsar Convention? No. So this is wrong, definitely. Then engineering water system should be. What do you mean by should be? Always when you say should be, it has to be very authentic, right? You need to have a good base when you say should be. So this is wrong. And he never talked about modernizing, right? So this is wrong. Let's come to D. Water supply should not be free of cost. There was nowhere mention of free of cost. So in exam itself, when you look at this question, this is definitely correct. Okay. So reading comprehension is very useful because you know the answer for sure. In maths or in reasoning, you need to at least know the tricks, right? You need to know the knowledge. You need to have some basics. For English, reading comprehension, you are anyways reading Lakshmikant, you are anyways reading environment books, you are reading history books, you are reading different subject books, right? So, and the passages, the topic UPS selects, more or less, it will be on GS based style. So you just need to spend 1 hour in exam with calm mind, okay? Only that will ensure you at least around 27 to 33 questions are from reading comprehension generally. Okay, so even if you get 7 questions wrong, you will have 20 positive for sure. So this will get you almost 50 marks. Okay. So reading comprehension, you don't need any formulas, no formula booklet, no revision, just calmness. But if you lose calmness in the exam, you'll miss that. So that is why I was just highlighting this question. I won't talk much about this question, but there are what UPSC has in UPSC. What he does is they don't focus more on formulas or formula booklets. They want you to apply your brain in the exam hall. Okay, so they give all the information here. You don't need to remember anything. Okay, you just need to know basic maths, basic simple thing, 10 greater than 9 or so on. Those simple things you just need to know. He will give everything. You just need to go to CSAT exam with calmness and composure and presence of mind. because exam will be in the afternoon time. Okay, so most of the questions he always gives information. He will just ask what is correct, what is wrong. Okay, so for this you need to we what we'll do is we'll analyze lot of we'll do PYQs for each topic. We will analyze the pattern. We will come up with some rules or strategy on how we will attempt in the paper. So by the end of this HIR, you will be confident on how to approach CSAT. That will save your time. You can invest more on GS. You can invest more on GS mains. So you are very relieved by the completion of this HIR course about CSAT, and Goutham Sir will take care of your GS. So when you sit in examination hall, or when you sit in examination hall or week before prelims, so you can be at peace. Of course, you will on 23rd, everyone will have worries. 23rd evening, okay, people will think of not even attempting the paper because you are not prepared. Even if you study every book, okay, even a person who cleared 6 times or 7 times or 8 times, even they will have worries, but that's natural. But on an overall scale, if you see average, you will have more confidence compared to many people when you sit in the examination hall on 24th May. Okay, so this is what HIR will do to your preparation for prelims.
Yeah. Yeah. Now his question is according to the schedule that, sir, for history we have around 9 days, right? Can you cover whole history in this? Okay. If I have to tell you, I think we have added 1 day extra for this year HIR, and for last 4 years we have been covering it comfortably in 8 days, including PYQs. Now when again it's a very valid doubt. Now when you look at polity, it is 6 days, where you run across 120 hours, but here it is around 6 into 25 is around 12.5 hours. Now when I say the content in HIR, it is exam specific. One. Now again, when I say exam specific, I am not going to look at everything of everything. Now for suppose when I say Buddhism, Jainism, there is one particular source which has been identified from which UPSC is picking up questions, right, over my experience. And approximately we would have around 5 pages or 6 pages of notes in tabular columns according to that particular source. Now that particular source, if you actually refer, the book goes on for 200 pages. But what is the speciality of this particular course is how are we making the 200 pages into 6 pages? That is onus on me, and that is completely based on my experience. And you can be rest assured that whatever time is allocated, it is comfortable to cover the subject where you can attempt the question confidently, right? I will not tell you here with the allocated time you will become master in history or you will become master in polity, but my confidence or my target is what? To make you solve questions. At the end of the day, you can happily get those right questions which are supposed to be answered, right? That is taken care. Because I just showed you polity snippet notes, which is 800 pages boiled down to 80, including multiple dimensions, including generalizations, including trends, right? Any other questions you have? You don't look satisfied. Yes. Now you fundamentally have to understand I am not doing this for the first time, right? I've been doing it. So what you have to understand is all the time that is allocated to your course is not random. It is planned out. It is out of experience. And whatever content we are going to provide is sufficient. One. Two, what is this respective notes going to do? It is going to be one-stop solution for your revision. 2. 3, automatically when you have strong revision, you have strong memory. Whenever you have strong revision, you have strong conceptual clarity. And whenever you have strong revision, you automatically have what? Confidence. When you have all of this, you can happily solve any question, right? Because now the biggest block that lies in front of me to break to a larger extent is to make you believe that what you're doing is sufficient. Only solution I have here is, we already have 500 people from the same program who have successfully cleared, and we already have the candidate who is teaching you successfully cleared this particular stage of the examination. So I would say that somewhere you will have to bank upon the strength of the program and the strength of the notes and the strength of the person who is teaching and handling this program, right? And whatever time that is allocated, I'm telling you, that is going to be more than sufficient, and it is meticulously planned, rest assured. And if you have any doubts, you can contact. There are some people who have taken HIR, right? I was talking about one first attempt candidate, right? Just 2-3 days back, I was having a conversation. Unfortunately, she could not clear her mains. I was having a conversation, and so we were planning out what to be done for next 2 months. Then I was just asking, what are you going to do for prelims, right? She immediately came up with single answer. She said, sir, I'm going to join first batch of December 11th batch of HIR. Why? Because I don't want any headache for prelims. Now that means this is a candidate who has already cleared prelims in her first attempt. And we have number of such people who are again coming back to the program, not because they could not clear, but because they were confident that if they join it again, they will clear it again. That's all. Right? So you will have to believe in certain things. That will be taken care of. Right? If you have any more doubts, you can personally meet me. I'll clarify all of those. Right? Regarding the schedule part. Right? Any other questions regarding sir or me? Now, if I may ask you, it's been how many years that you're preparing? 1, 2. You have done your basics? 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 His question is, what is the preparedness that I should have for HR? Now, one preparedness that I would tell you is, you should have done your basics, right? It is not that don't expect it to be a foundation course, because some people will have this apprehension, I will not join foundation course, I will straight away come and sit in HR. Now, it is not useful for these people. I would say you need to have your basics. When I say basics, basic reading, right? If you have finished your 1 year of foundation course, fantastic. If your foundation course is going on, fantastic. Or if you have read your basic books, nothing better than that. Some basic concepts have to be done. One. Now, what should be my rest of the day? You know, your session is from 6 to 8:30. Then almost on every alternate day, you have your test, which is from 9 to 10, right? Now, what I would tell you is, for some candidates who are not very confident about your optional, you can divide the day into half and half, right? Half for HIR, test, and revision regarding prelims, and rest of the half you can happily spend on your optional or GS with respect to mains, because you can do that till Jan 15, because you have already started prelims early, right? When I say early, it is right time, because most of us have this phobia of prelims as a stage of examination. So you can divide your day into half and half, and you can continue with your rest of the schedule. Not an issue, right? Any other questions?
As Gautam sir is saying, he's an expert at this. So clearing prelims, it will boost your peer group. Okay, what happens is, when you clear prelims, you will be writing mains test series for optional and for GS. So when you do that, so that will boost your confidence, and you will get in touch with people who have already cleared mains and who are appearing interview, or you will also meet rankers. So that way, when your peer group changes, one prelims you clear, and you will go to a different zone. You will meet friends, you will meet people who are writing mains. So that way, it will boost your chance of getting ranked a lot. If you fail in prelims, what happens is, you are stuck with people who are not clearing prelims here and there. So, but when you clear prelims, your peer group changes, you automatically move towards a better position to clear this examination.
That peer group builds, and what happens is, you're always in that gloomy mood of not clearing prelims examination will take away the confidence of this examination. And what you start doing, you start deviating and start looking at some other exams. But very rightly pointed out that your peer group changes, your confidence changes, your vision changes, and your confidence towards examination changes, right? Any other questions? Any more? Right. Now his question is, sir, polity will take more than 10-15 days for me, but you have scheduled for 6 days. Now your polity is very different from my polity. First answer. I don't mean to say I am Lakshmikant sir here, no. Your polity is complete book polity, and my polity is exam polity. And what do I say? What is more important to us is exam polity. Now here you will have to fundamentally understand that reading everything is not giving you assurance of clearing exam. When I say giving you assurance of clearing the examination, what is more important is it is exam oriented content which you'll have to focus. After 45 days at the end of your, I think when the schedule is getting over around February 2nd, yes, February 1st, February 2nd, I can definitely tell you that you have completed all of the subjects which is required for examination. But for your satisfaction, maybe another extra 15-20 days you'll have to spend, right? Because most of you get that satisfaction only reading after those voluminous books, right? Because those are, you say those are standard books. I understand, but after 45 days and after February 2nd, you are making a statement, I don't know where I am, but I will definitely tell you, you know in which direction you are going on. And most of your exam content will be taken care in HIR notes. Whatever additional things, in case whatever you wish to read from your standard books, which will hardly take 15 to 20 days extra, because most of it will anyway be covered in a consolidated manner in the course. That will be taken care, right?
I hope your questions were answered, but we'll take more questions for those of you who are here. I just wanted to put out the pricing of the course. Many students have been messaging to us. We have not changed the price from last year because the whole purpose of this course is to help you students come to the stage where you feel confident that you will be able to clear prelims, and you can come to that stage where mains also, institute has strategic revision for mains and mission mains programs that we do every year. And many students who could not clear prelims or were taking a break last year have taken our mission mains program and strategic revision program, and they finished their simulation test last month, and they are ready for prelims. That is the kind of cycle that we have created at the institute. So you are prepared year round to be able to give this exam. Okay, so I'm just putting out the flyer with the course fees here. For those of you who have questions or anything, the fees is the same as last year. We have not changed the fees structure, and we have up to December 8th, we have early bird offer for students. And then for those of our students, when I say R.C.Reddy IAS study circle students, are previous year civil services students or HIR students, or if you have taken strategic revision, any other course, you are considered our students. So you all have a 30% early bird offer there as well. Okay, the pricing, let me be very clear behind the motive. What the institute does is the kind of, I told you it's a multi-pronged approach, right? Sandeep, you can stand here. I told you it's a multi-pronged approach, right? When we say multi-pronged, I truly mean multi-pronged. We're not doing just test, we're not doing just revision or just bits and pieces of what is needed for the exam. You need a whole round approach for it. That is why we have included every aspect of it. There are many other programs out there that will cost you 35,000 or more, which are just tests or which don't really give you all these things. Okay, I don't want to keep talking about those because we have, as an institute, ensured everything is provided the best quality at the price that is affordable for students. So If you have any concerns, questions, please feel free to ask us. We'll put out this flyer with the pricing. Many students have been asking right from the time that we have put out our elimination session to find out the pricing. Do not waste your time, thinking that, I'll go for something that costs me much less, then you're not saving anything. You're wasting your life, your energy. Okay, so please make a wise decision in whatever you do. Okay, all the best. Vivek, you have a question. If it is the same price for online also, ma'am? Yes, it is the same price for online also, Vivek. With that, we will be ending the session. If no other questions are there, all the best to you. Okay, thank you.